Long before refrigerators existed, keeping food fresh was a daily battle. One of the simplest solutions was to dry food in the sun, removing the moisture that made it spoil. Without refrigeration, people had to find clever ways to slow spoilage and make their food last. Smoke offered another powerful solution, drying the food while helping protect it from spoilage. Another clever solution was to store food underground, where the earth kept it naturally cooler and protected from the heat. Salt became one of the simplest and most powerful ways to preserve food. By drawing moisture from meat and fish, it could keep them edible for much longer. As the seasons changed, people learned to protect food from heat, moisture, and decay. In colder regions, people discovered another simple solution, using nature's cold to slow decay and keep food edible for longer. Honey offered another remarkable way to preserve certain foods, protecting them from spoilage for surprisingly long periods. Pickling offered another simple solution. Foods could be preserved in an acidic liquid, helping protect them from spoilage for much longer. Grains were stored in sealed clay containers, protecting precious food from moisture, insects, and spoilage. In naturally cool places, people could slow food's decay by keeping it away from heat and direct sunlight. Fruits could also be preserved by removing their moisture, allowing them to last far beyond their natural season. People also used nature itself as protection, wrapping food in broad leaves to shield it from air, insects, and sunlight. For ancient communities, preserving food was also a way to prepare for the uncertain months ahead. Salt became precious not only for flavor, but because it helped communities protect their food for longer. In colder regions, nature itself became a storage tool, with snow and ice helping food stay cool for longer. Another method was to protect food from air by covering it with a layer of oil. In colder regions, people saved winter itself, packing ice into insulated pits to keep food cold for months. Some foods were sealed inside clay containers, shutting out air, moisture, and pests that could spoil them. For some foods, the earth itself became a natural refrigerator. Cool underground chambers helped slow spoilage and extend storage. Cold spring water offered another simple advantage. People could keep certain foods cool without any artificial refrigeration. Another clever trick was to seal cooked food beneath a layer of fat, keeping air away and slowing spoilage. One surprising method was preserving eggs in lime water, creating a protective barrier that slowed spoilage for months. Porous clay pots offered another clever solution. Evaporation could naturally cool the food stored inside. Across every land, people turned to nature to keep food safe and fresh. Sun, wind, smoke, salt, and cold became the world's first preservation tools. Slowly, one simple truth emerged: control moisture, air, and heat, and food lasts. People began storing food in cool, dry, sealed places, away from insects and damp. What began as daily necessity grew into wisdom passed down through centuries. In a world without fridges, this knowledge made the difference between plenty and hunger. It created food reserves, so no one went hungry when the seasons turned. Salted, dried, and smoked foods traveled far, enabling trade and exploration. Food preservation helped build civilizations. Stability comes from stored food. Salt became so valuable, it was traded like gold, and even used as payment. Fermentation did more than preserve. It created foods we still love today. Underground cellars and ice pits turned seasonal harvest into year-round food. Every jar, dried bundle, and salted barrel was a promise for the future. Yet every method had its limits, its trade-offs, and its weaknesses. Drying shrank food and changed its taste. It could never be truly fresh again. Salting needed huge amounts of precious salt and often made food too salty to eat straight away. Ice and cold storage only worked where winters were long and cold enough. Fermentation needed perfect timing, clean conditions, and careful skill to succeed. And underground storage only worked in certain places, never everywhere. For thousands of years, people everywhere dreamed of something simpler and better. Then, after centuries of patience, that simpler solution finally arrived: refrigeration. It created cold artificially, anywhere, anytime, no ice or earth needed. Suddenly, food stayed fresh longer, kept its true taste, and nothing else compared. The refrigerator changed everything: how we eat, how we shop, and how we live. Yet surprisingly, the ancient ways never truly disappeared. We still use them today. Before supermarkets, most families preserved food to make it last through the year. So when you open your fridge, remember, it stands on thousands of years of wisdom. Every convenience we enjoy today began with someone watching, thinking, and trying. Necessity created invention, and human curiosity changed the world. And the next great idea might begin right where you are.